It's Valentine's Day, and I couldn't be more grateful than to be here on one of my favorite nights of the year to celebrate our pals together. I hope that you guys have already enjoyed being together tonight, worshiping together, getting to know each other, celebrating your pals, getting some free lattes, and I think tonight is going to be a beautiful thing for us. Carson, thanks for the welcome. Also, I think I broke your microphone, so I'm sorry. It's stabbing me in the back of my ear right now. It's okay. I think I broke Carson's mic, and he's going to be really, really mad at me. And it's going to undo, and it's going to stab me in the neck, and it's going to be awesome. Hey, so I'm really excited for Palentine's. I'm also really excited to be able to launch into this teaching series for us, where we're going to come around this idea of learning to find real relationships. And relationships in your life are one of the most critical things that you experience every single day. And so we're going to take some time to look at how do we find real relationships? And how do we do that? By looking at how we learn to live in the way of Jesus. Like, what does the way of Jesus tell us about relationships? And so tonight, we're going to focus on friendship because it's Valentine's Day. Hello. Next week, our good friend, one of my good friends, Jeff Banks, from Student Ministries, is going to be here. And he's talking about dating. So come on, everybody, get really excited about that. And then week 3, your very own Carson Gosley is going to be here to talk about, honestly, might end up being one of your favorite relationships we talk about, which is the relationship between you and your parents. Because here's the reality is y'all are in this really weird transitionary season with your parents. And it's weird and awkward, and how do we do it? Like, how do we honor our mother and our father well? And so Carson's going to lead us through that. But tonight, it's Valentine's Day. We're talking about friendship, everybody. Y'all ready? Yeah? All right. So let's do it. So listen, in college, I had a friend, and his name was Otis. I had more than one friend, but I had a friend, and his name was Otis. And I met Otis, y'all get this, first class, freshman year. 8 a.m. Monday morning, history. It was awful. Worst class ever. But I met Otis, and Otis became one of my best friends, and Otis was super, super cool. You probably heard me talk about Otis before. You may even heard me tell the story before, but it's okay, because me and Otis, man, we were like bonded at the hip. We were so similar in so many ways. This was 1999, so we rollerbladed a little bit. Anyways, it was cool back then. We loved sports, we loved hanging out, and we did all that. That's where like the similarities, ended, and then you get the fact that Otis was a Division I star athlete. He was on the track team at UNCW. He did the triple jump. I don't even know how you do that. Have you ever watched the triple jump before? It's like, how does a human do that thing? But he did it. Otis also, he loved pets, and I hated pets. I was not are y'all pet people? Okay, sorry. Well, hey, now I have 2 pets. I have a dog, Bingley, and a cat, Streak. But in college, I just didn't love pets, right? And so me and Otis, we decided to live together. So we had an apartment, and we were there. And you got to set like the house rules, right? And that's where you're like, hey, this is how we're going to treat this place. This is what we're going to do and not do. And I was like adamant, no pets. Otis was like, man, we got to have pets. I'm like, no pets. And so we made the rule. This is the ground rule. No pets, right? Do you think Otis kept his word on no pets? Absolutely not. He didn't own a pet. But man, every friend who had a pet, he would invite them over. He'd be like, bring your cat, bring your dog. We had birds. We had flying squirrels in our apartment all the time. And here's the thing is like one like dog peed in the corner, and then every pet goes and pees there, right? Every time. And it's unbelievable. I'm like, Otis, what are you doing, man? Until one day, y'all, it got really bad. And Otis came back from Christmas break, and he had his very own pet. He did not speak to me about it. He did not ask about it. He just moved back in with a ferret into our apartment. And if you know anything about ferrets are disgusting. Because when ferrets poop, it just splatters. That's just what happens. It's not their fault. It's what they do. It just goes. And so we got this ferret sitting in our apartment, just splattering poop everywhere, right? It's disgusting, man. And ferrets, they're not even like cute, I don't think. Like they're ugly and they're weird. And it's like, what are we doing, right, Otis? And so I'm like, Otis, man, you're my friend. We said no pets. Like, what's up? Yeah, Clay, I'm sorry, man. I fell in love with this ferret and I just had to, bring it home. I'm like, nah, dude, that's not cool. So I give Otis a couple of warnings. And when I say warnings, like, bro, you gotta get rid of the ferret, A week later, I'm like done. I'm done with the ferret. Ferret's going. I wake up Saturday morning. Otis is asleep. Y'all, pick up that ferret in his cage. I put him in the back of my Jeep Cherokee, and I drive him to the animal shelter. Ferret's gone, y'all. Ferret is out of here. I'll pull up to the animal shelter, and I'm like, I can just leave it on the steps, right, y'all? And they're like, no, Clay, you have to take it in. I take it in, and they're like, so what's the ferret's name? I'm like, Buddy? I don't know. I don't know the ferret's name, right? I leave the ferret at the animal shelter. I leave, and we go eat hot dogs. And I get home later, and I tell Otis, bro, I took your ferret to the animal shelter. Sorry. He didn't talk to me for 2 weeks. And I tell you, that story to tell you that I was not a real friend to Otis, right? I was not the kind of friend that Otis wanted me to be. I was not the kind of friend that I would want to have. I was not the kind of friend that I wanted to be. But I also tell you that story tonight to tell you that friendship, when we're honest in our lives, it can be super challenging. Right? Our friendships can be super difficult. Like, think about this for a second. If you have roommates, it's not easy, is it? And this is where the giggles come in, right? Because you're sitting beside your roommate, you're like, it's really hard. It's really hard. Friendships are not easy. Actually, friendships can be super, super difficult. But also know this, and I believe this about you, is that one thing that you desire, one thing that I desire, is for us to have real, authentic, life-giving friendships in our life. And I think a lot of us are at a place, maybe you're in this place, where you're just frustrated, man. I don't know what to do. How do I have real friends? And I think part of the struggle is twofold. I think for us, man, when we think about friends, we fail to define what a real friend is. We fail to define it. We fail to clarify it. We fail to say, this is actually what it would mean for someone to be a real friend to me. Besides the fact that they don't take my pet ferret to the animal shelter, right? We don't define friendship. But on the other side, we idealize friendship, right? We have an idyllic view of what it means to be a real friend. And what we find when we idolize friendship and what it means to be a friend is that no one ever measures up to our ideal of a real friend. And so we find ourselves lacking. We find ourselves wanting. We find ourselves in challenging situations when it comes to what it looks like to have real friends in our life. And so tonight, and as we dig into this series, The Real Thing, I want to help us to define what it might look like to have real friends in our lives. And last year, exactly a year ago today at Palentine's, I kicked off a series that was entitled True Friends. If you were here last year, you might remember True Friends. And I just want to say tonight that we can define a real friend as a true friend. That a real friend is a true friend. And I want to show you what true friend means. Here it is on the slides. A true friend is truthful. A true friend is restorative. A true friend is understanding, and a true friend is enduring. Truthful, restorative, understanding, and enduring. And I bet as you begin to think about that, you can start to kind of frame a mental image of a true friend, of a real friend that you would want to have who's truthful and restorative and understanding and enduring. And here's what I think we start to do. We start to shop for our friends. Like, I'm here. Yeah, Clay, I'm for that, man. I want some real friends. And I don't have them, so I'm going to go find me some real friends. But the reality is, for us, is that finding real friends, finding true friends is not as easy as shopping on Amazon, which is super easy. You're not adding friends to a cart. The tension for us tonight that I want to kind of let us enter into is this reality tonight that finding a true friend starts with becoming a true friend. Finding a true friend becomes with actually beginning to become a true friend. And if I'm correct, and if friendship is a bit of a struggle for us in the room tonight, I think a lot of us are starting to think, man, what would it look like for me to find some true friends, some real friends? But man, this is the place that we're going to find our friends. This is the place that a lot of you have found your friends, and you have good friends. I'm not down in all your friends. But if we just kind of go shopping for true friends, man, we're going to come up wanting. Because what you need for someone over here to become a true friend. And what they need is for you to become a true friend. And so before we go trying to shop for true friends and fill up our kind of circle with really good people who are truthful and restorative and understanding and enduring, we've got to become a true friend. You've got to become a true friend. I need you to be a true friend, and they need you to become a true friend. This is on us together. And so what I want to do is I want us to take our eyes off of assessing and judging and shopping for the true friend. I want us to turn our eyes to ourselves. Who am I? Am I a true friend? And what would it look like for me to become a true friend right here, right now? So I want to take us back through this acronym of TRUE tonight. I'm going to walk us through each of these letters of TRUE to kind of help you have some practical handles on what it might look like for you. And then I want to go to the words and the ways of Jesus to see what Jesus has to say about all this. So let's start off with the first letter of TRUE, and that is T. And T stands for truthful, truthful. Each of these we have a proverb, because proverb is this wonderful book of wisdom that God gives us to actually know what it looks like to live out in wisdom. And this is what Proverbs 27:5 says about truthful. It says this. It says, an open rebuke is better than hidden love. Words from a sincere friend are better than many kisses from an enemy. I love that. Wounds from a sincere friend, a true friend, I mean, they're better than many kisses from an enemy. The reality is, for you to be a truthful friend means that there's times when you're going to speak the truth and you know it's going to sting your friend a little bit. You know it's not going to be what they want to hear. But a true friend is willing to say it anyways for the sake of the friend. Right? And what we do is we don't like that because I don't want to upset you. I don't want you to be mad at me, so I'm just not going to say anything. Right? So I withhold the truth from you, and what do I actually become? I actually become the enemy who just gives you many kisses. And I don't say the thing that I think that you need to hear. Right? If we're going to be a true friend, we've got to learn and we've got to be willing to be truthful with our friends. And that's not that we just come in and we just lay the hammer down. That's that we come in with the truth. Like Jesus, guess what, is the way, the truth, and the life. True truth, I believe, is almost always gentle. Real truth is gentle because Jesus is the truth and Jesus is gentle, but willing to have the hard conversation, willing to call someone out when you need to call someone out, but also being truthful to speak encouragement into someone, right? When you see your friend doing something really, really good and you're having a really, really hard day, do you want to go and speak the truth into them, say, man, you're crushing it? Or do you want to say, hey, have some pity on me? Right? A truthful friend is, hey, I'm going to speak the truth in this moment. I'm going to tell you how incredible you're doing in life right now because I'm willing to be truthful with you. And get this, y'all, that a truthful friend can be a trusted friend, right? When you learn to be truthful with other people, be truthful with your friends, guess what they're going to do? They're going to be able to trust you because they've seen that you've been truthful with them over time, even when those conversations are challenging. The wounds of a sincere friend, they're better than many kisses from an enemy. We've got to learn to be a truthful friend with others. That's the T. The R is this. The R is restorative. That a real friend, a true friend, is restorative. Proverbs 17:9 says it this way. It says that love prospers when a fault is forgiven. But dwelling on it, it separates close friends. Love prospers when a fault is forgiven. But dwelling on it, it separates close friends. Y'all, a true friend is a restorative friend. A restorative friend cares more about the relationship being right than them being right. Right? We're in a fight, and I want to be right, so I keep my distance because I want to be right. A true friend says, no, I want us to be right. I want our relationship to be restored. A true friend, restorative friend, is someone who sees the friend over the fault. Right? Has a friend ever hurt you, and all you can see is the hurt, not the friend? That's all you can see. I'm sure all Otis could see was my fault for those 2 weeks. But a restorative friend is going to say, I want to see you. I want to see the person over the problem. I want to focus on the friendship over the fault. And so a restorative friend, what do? How do you restore? How do you not dwell on the fault? Is you forgive it. You forgive your friend for the sake of loving your friend. And I just love this, y'all, that forgiveness, that forgiving a fault, it's this language in Scripture of a debt being paid for. And so when I think about it, man, when a friend hurts me or sins against me, my forgiveness is saying, hey, you don't owe me anymore. You don't have to pay me back for that. I forgive you. I release you. Right? And how freeing is that for your friend? But come on, let's be real. How freeing is that for you when you forgive a fault? When you say, I'm just going to release you. I'm not going to hold that grudge against you anymore. I'm not going to be bitter against you anymore. I'm going to forgive you, release you. Guess what you're doing? You're releasing yourself, man. You're caring about the relationship more than just being right. A true friend is a restorative friend. That's the R. The U is this. The U is that a true friend is an understanding friend. Proverbs 25:20, and I just love this one, so just let it sink in. I'm probably going to read it twice. It says this. It says that singing cheerful songs to a person with a heavy heart is like taking someone's coat in cold weather or pouring vinegar in a wound. Let me read it again. Singing cheerful songs to a person with a heavy heart is like taking someone's coat in the cold or their ferret, or like pouring vinegar in a wound, which hurts really, really bad. And we hear this in like modern American, like evangelical church culture. It's like, man, singing cheerful songs is what we're supposed to do, right? When my friend's down, I want to sing over them. But the reality is, man, when your friend is down and your friend is hurting over here and they're crying, and you want to come over here and sing a K-Love song over them, is that what they want to hear? Colby, is that what they want to hear? Absolutely not. It's like, hey, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. When your friend is over there and they're crushing anxiety, and for you to stand over here and say, hey, just don't be anxious. That's what the Bible says. Don't be anxious. You'll be better. Trust God. Is that what they want to hear? No. A true friend is an understanding friend. And when I think of understanding, I think of the reality of being on the same page. Let's understand each other. Let's be on the same page. How do you get on the same page as someone? Is you get in the same place as someone. When your friend is down, you get down there with them. When your friend is anxious, you get down there with them. When your friend is hurting, you get down there with them. You get on the same page as your friend by getting in the same place as your friend. Or when your friend is having a really good day and you're not, you get over there with them and you sing K-Love together. I don't care, whatever, right? You get on the same page as them by being in the same places and say, hey, I understand you, right? When your friend is hurting and you sit over here and you sing a cheerful song over them, you know what they say? This is how I say it. They don't get me. They don't get what I'm going through, and therefore I am isolated and alone. they are as good as not being a friend to me in this moment. Y'all, a true friend is an understanding friend. They say, hey, what's going on? Let me sit with you in what you're feeling, or let me celebrate what you're celebrating. A true friend is an understanding friend. You get on the same page by being in the same place as them. That's the U. The E, the final one, is this. The E is enduring. Proverbs 17:17 says that a friend is always loyal and a brother is born to help in time of need. A friend is always loyal and a brother is born to help in time of need. Y'all love this. This call to endure with each other, to always be loyal, to be there when the times get tough. And the reality is that your friendship, it might not actually last forever. There are friendships that last for a season. There are friendships that fade over time and distance. Your friendship might not last forever, but your impact, it can. Or the impact that you can have on someone else's life, it actually can last forever. It can be an eternal impact into their life. A true friend is an enduring friend. A friend who's going to be there when times get tough, but also who's going to look to make an eternal impact on their life. An enduring friend is born to help in a time of need. And an enduring friend shows up. They show up when the friend is fed up. They show up when the friend is about to give up. An enduring friend shows up for their friends. Gerald Fadiomi, a friend of ours who's spoken here before and is pastoring a church near Atlanta, he said one time, and I'll just never forget this, and it challenges me to this day. He says that I would rather offend someone with my presence than offend them with my absence. Right? When someone's having a hard time, and I'm not sure if I should go and be with them in that time of need, I'd rather go and be with them and that be an offense to them, like, oh, get away from me, I need some space, versus them being in a time of need and just not showing up and them being so offended that I never showed up. A true friend is going to show up when it's tough. They're going to show up in the seasons of life in which they have the opportunity to make an eternal and lasting impact on someone's life. A true friend, an enduring friend, is going to ask the question, how am I making an eternal impact on the lives of my friends? Sometimes it's just showing up. Oftentimes, it's just consistently asking your friend, hey, how are you doing today? Like really, like how are you doing? Not that you're in passing, hey, how are you doing? And you're just going to keep going when they say good. And say, hey, how are you doing? I don't want to sit here. I want to hear how you are doing. Because I'm enduring. I'm here for you. I'm loyal. I'm here in the time of need. A true friend is truthful, is restorative, is understanding and enduring. And I think that's a super helpful frame for us to consider what it looks like to be a true friend, even a better frame for what it looks like for us to become, to move in the direction of becoming a true friend for others. But I want to go a step deeper tonight, and I want to look at the words of Jesus, and I want to ask the question, what kind of friend would you be? What kind of friend would you be if you actually lived like Jesus? What kind of friend would I be if I actually walked in the ways of Jesus? What would my friendship, what would I look like as a true friend walking in the ways of Jesus? And to do that, I want to look at the Gospel of John. John chapter 15. If you have your Bibles, I'd love for you to turn there. John chapter 15. Man, this is one of the famous passages of Jesus speaking. He just finished talking about and explaining how he was the true vine. And then I want us to pick up in verse 12 of John 15 to read these few words of Jesus. You guys there? All right, this is what Jesus said. He said, "This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you." That's that new commandment that Jesus gave. It's not just that you're to love others as yourself. It's that, no, you're supposed to love others now how I loved you. This is the new commandment. This is Jesus' commandment. Verse 13, greater love has no one than this, that someone lay down his life for his friends. And I just love this picture that we get from Jesus, that the greatest expression of love is not romance, it is friendship. It is when a friend is willing to lay their life down for another friend. Verse 14, he says, "You are my friends if you do what I command." And that might sound a little bit manipulative from Jesus, like, hey, if you do what I tell you to do, you can be my friend. No. Jesus is saying, hey, no, that's what friendship looks like. If you're my friend, of course you're going to trust me, and you're going to respond to me. You're going to take action. Your friendship, true friends, are responsive. If you're my true friend and you call me up and say, I need help, I'm coming. I'm going to respond to you. Jesus saying, hey, you're my friends. If you do what I command, if you follow my words, namely, if you love others as I have loved you. Verse 15, no longer do I call you servants, for the servant does not know what his master is doing, but I have called you friends. For all that I have heard from the Father, I have made known to you. And I just love this, that Jesus doesn't just see you as a friend, Jesus calls you a friend. Jesus speaks that over your life. And that's what a real friend does, right? A real friend articulates how they feel about you. They speak, they share. Jesus says, everything that I've heard from the Father, I've shared to you. I call you a friend, I share with you, I let you in. That's what a real friend does. They speak. They step up into action. And they're willing to sacrifice for another. That's what it looks like to be a friend. The greatest expression of love in this whole world is when a friend is willing to lay down their life for a friend. And Jesus doesn't just speak those words, Jesus lives out those words. Hello, Romans chapter 5, verse 6 says this, so it'll be on the screen. He says, for while we were still weak, at the right time, Christ died for the ungodly. For one will scarcely die for a righteous person, though perhaps for a good person or a really, really good friend, one would dare to die. But God shows his love for us in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Jesus says the greatest demonstration of love in this world is a friend who's willing to lay down their life for a friend. And Jesus came and he laid down his life for you and for me. He actually expressed love to the full when he laid his life down for us. And this is a beautiful thing. And, you know, we're going to get into dating and more romantic love. But there's this argument, I think C.S. Lewis, I wasn't planning on sharing this, but I got a few minutes. I think C.S. Lewis brought that the greatest of the four loves found in Scripture is friendship love. Because friendship love is not constrained. It's not demanded. It's not contractual. It's not a covenant. When you marry someone, there's a covenant. You are agreeing to, I will love you till death do us part. In a friendship, you're just loving someone. You're just extending yourself to someone. And so to lay your life down for a friend who you don't have to do that, you didn't agree to do that, but you just did it, is the greatest act of love. And Jesus did that for us. He calls us friends, and he died for us even when we were weak, even when we were still sinners, even when we were enemies of God. Jesus died for us. And here's the reality tonight. Is that Jesus, he's the true friend that we have all failed to be. Jesus, he is the true friend that we all have failed to be. And I think the reality of that statement is both overwhelming and it's so freeing. Because Jesus calls you friend, and Jesus laid down his life for you to forgive you, to fill you with his Spirit, and to free you to go and then to be a friend for someone else. Right? Jesus is the example to us of what it looks like to be a friend. He exemplified true friendship. He exemplified a real friend. But he didn't just exemplify it, he actually empowers you to do it. Jesus is the true friend that we've all failed to be. And the reality tonight is that, yeah, we have failed to be real friends. Probably every single one of us in this room have at some point stolen their friend's ferret in some form or fashion. You failed your friends. I failed my friends. I probably fail them quite often. But Jesus never fails you, and Jesus allows you to be forgiven so that you can step in and choose to become a real friend for others. Jesus forgives you, he fills you, and he frees you to go and do what he has done for you. I'm here tonight to tell you that to become a true friend, to become a real friend, it starts with you. It starts with you looking in the mirror and saying, this is what I want, this is who I want to become. But it also starts with Jesus. Because the reality is, if friendship isn't about others being a true friend for you, but you being a true friend for others, there are some things that you need, right? Like you need to be loved, you need to be affirmed. And Jesus says, hey, let me do that first for you. Let me do that first. Let me first be a true friend for you. There's two next steps I want to give us, and I want to lead us into a prayer time, something for us to kind of sit in tonight together. The two next steps for you to consider for yourself, and this is it, number one, is that you must first learn to allow Jesus to be your true friend. You must first learn to allow Jesus to be your true friend. To be truthful with you, to be restorative for you, to be understanding of you, and to be enduring for you. Y'all, listen, the Christian life is about a relationship with Jesus, and he calls you friend. He invites you into a friendship with him, and you've got to allow him to be your friend. And I don't know if you've ever thought about that, but tonight I'm going to help you think about that tonight. The second next step we've got to step into, consider to be a real friend, a true friend is this. You must learn to lay down your life to become a true friend. You've got to learn what it looks like to lay down your life for others. And to lay down your life is not going to be to die for your friend. It's going to be to die to yourself, right? To your way and your preferences and your style and your pride and your time and your effort, to sacrifice that for the sake of your friends. That's what it's going to look like for you to lay down your life for your friends. Like Jesus died on the cross for you. Now what we get to do is we get to lay down ourselves for the people. Say, hey, I'm gonna consider you more important than myself, right? You gotta learn what it looks like to lay down your life here for your friends. To be willing to be truthful with your friends. Y'all, that's not easy. That's a sacrifice. To go in and speak truth, I could do 1,000 other things I'd probably rather do than have to speak the truth to my friend. That's what a true friend does. To be restorative in a friendship, when a friendship has got some friction, say, hey, man, I'd rather go play golf, but I'm gonna lean in with my friend, and I'm gonna have a conversation. I'm gonna ask for forgiveness, and I'm gonna forgive them of the ways that they've hurt me. To be understanding. Man, when life is good and it's fast and you got a lot to do and your friend is over there in the corner, it's like, man, I got to go get some stuff done. And when I get it done, I'll come back and check in on you. And it's like, no, I'm gonna check in on you right now. I'm gonna seek understanding. I'm gonna seek to know where you are at and what's going on in your life. And to be enduring and to be loyal to someone else, not just to yourself, not just to what you want, but to them. To be there in the time of need, to stick around, and to consider how might I make an eternal impact in your life today. That's to lay your life down for your friends. So how I want to close tonight, I want to just lead us in a time of prayer. And so if you've got your Bibles and your journals, you can just sit on the side, because I want to sit in this moment together in allowing Jesus to be our true friend, to experiencing that, to contemplating that, to reflecting on it, and allowing it to be a reality for us tonight. So Overflow, if you would, just close your eyes. Just get away from the distractions. If you like to pray with your hands postured and just openness, I encourage you to do that. And I just want to lead us through a time to just be with Jesus, to commune and to communicate with him. And we'll start with the T, this reality that Jesus is truthful with you. That Jesus, in fact, is the truth. He is the way, he is the truth, he is the life. What Jesus thinks about you and what Jesus says about you is actually true of you. Man, I'm sure there's so many lies in your head and your heart right now. Would you sit them to the side in this moment, and would you consider what God says about you? What Jesus says about you? Would you remember and recall what God says about you in Scripture? That he calls you his beloved, that he calls you his son, he calls you his daughter. Would you just reflect on that? Would you receive that? That what Jesus says about you is the most true thing about you. Jesus says you're forgiven. Jesus says there's no condemnation. Jesus says you're redeemed. You're new. You're mine. You're a masterpiece. Would you believe what Jesus says about you? It's true of you. Jesus is the restorative friend. He came, in fact, to restore, to redeem, and to reconcile you. I would ask you to ponder what feels broken in you right now. What in your life feels out of whack right now? What's between you and God right now? Is there distance? Is there sin? Is there a sin pattern? Is there shame? Would you in this moment allow Jesus through his Spirit to restore that in you? To bind the brokenness, to heal the wound, to forgive you. Would you receive his forgiveness? You don't have to earn it. If you put your faith in Jesus, you are already forgiven. Jesus is the understanding friend. He gets you. However you feel right now, would you be honest with God? Would you be honest with Jesus how you feel? Would you just, in prayer, communicate that to him right now? Say, Jesus, this is how I feel. This is where I'm at. This is how I'm doing. Just go ahead. Be honest with him right now. Would you hear Jesus repeat back to you, I get you. I get it. Been there, done that. Get it. Jesus is the enduring friend. He is the friend who promises to never leave you or forsake you. Where you are, he is with you. Where you will go, he will be with you. Would you just thank Jesus that he is enduring, that he is loyal, always loyal, that he is the brother who was born for your time of need. Man, if you're in a time of need right now, would you just thank Jesus that he's there? He is with you in it. If you're doing great right now, would Would you thank him that in your next time of need, he's going to be there with you? Would you thank him for that? Would you rejoice in that? Jesus is the enduring friend. He's the friend that he's with you in the fire, when it feels like everything is going up, when it feels like you're drowning, he is with you. He is with you. And he will not leave you. He will never forsake you.